What's up, everyone? Welcome to Sean's Movie Corner. I just saw Sing Sing, and I'm going to tell you what I thought about it right now.
25 to life. Since you've been in custody, you've been involved in a theater program.
Gentlemen, let's go.
Sing Sing is the real-life story of the Sing Sing Correctional Facility located in Ossining, New York, and more specifically their RTA program, which stands for Rehabilitation Through the Arts, which is an extracurricular theater program that allows a small group of inmates to put on a production twice a year. The movie starts as the group is recruiting a new cast member for their next show. They land on Clarence Macklin, referred to as Divine I, who struggles to buy into the group's dynamics at first, but under the tutelage of the group's leader Divine G, he starts to embrace the brotherhood among these inmates. The cast is made up primarily of alumni from the actual Sing Sing prison, so they are mostly ex-inmates who were part of the RTA program, knew the program very well, and could bring an authenticity to their roles. Colman Domingo is the only recognizable name in the movie. He plays the character Divine G. His performance is good enough to carry the entire movie if it needed to. Luckily it doesn't, because everyone plays their parts well, making it difficult for the average viewer to even realize that the supporting cast are not Hollywood professionals. Prison movies are hard to come by these days. I don't even know, in fact, if I could name a movie in the last decade that took place completely or even partially inside a prison. 30 years ago, The Shawshank Redemption defined what a prison movie could be, and no one has tried to top it since. Turns out that movies set in prison are primed to explore a really special human condition, and Sing Sing proves that. When you add the theater element to it, what you have is a really interesting character study on a group of people who are in the most socially and sometimes physically confining institution, looking for ways to mentally free themselves of that confinement. Colman Domingo does a really great job showing on his face the excitement in him when the group is about to begin an acting exercise or begin a rehearsal. You can tell it's the one time a day that his character doesn't feel like a slave in the system. And this is contrasted well with scenes that show other areas in the prison that are small and restrictive, and there are many scenes where we see his character looking out a window, seeing the world and the opportunities outside, while he still obviously is acknowledging the barriers to his freedom. And so to me, Sing Sing is all about escapism. How can people in the worst of circumstances find outlets that even for just a few hours make them entirely forget that they're in those circumstances in the first place? And in acting and theater, it's even easier to find this escape. Through their roles in the play, and even though they don't have many props and they barely have a stage, they get lost in this world of acting, and that's all that matters to them. By the end, it's a really beautiful display of the ways we get through hard times, our coping mechanisms, and masking despair through the things we love. It's a very simply made film, so I'd feel disingenuous praising any of the technical elements because, to be honest, I didn't notice them much. However, it's still effective, so like most A24 films, the phrase simple but effective is a completely appropriate way to describe Sing Sing. That is something that's frustrating me though, and I haven't heard anyone else mention this, but the fact that some of these A24 movies do feel like they're cut from the same cloth. Specifically in the way that they're shot in their editing. I can't help but feel that the minimalist approach to making some of these movies are giving off a style that is way too reminiscent of movies from the same studio. They don't feel like they're coming from directors that have a distinct voice, and they make these films feel barren from an artistic standpoint. And I think a lot of A24 films have this problem of having such a strong core, a strong story, but lacking the flavor to elevate it. Just looking at movies like The Whale, Aftersun, The Zone of Interest, they're movies I'd all give positive reviews to, but at the same time concede that their strengths lie in their scripts and that they're actually stylistically boring. And the only reason I note this is because uniform mechanisms among films in a studio is usually what the bigger studios get faulted for. You know, the Disneys and the Universals that sometimes get accused of assembling their films by a committee of suits. And so if you have a studio like A24, who I've praised and I think rightfully so, for giving unique voices opportunities to tell unique stories, well, we should also be quick to call them out when it feels like their films are losing their stylistic flair. At any rate, back to Sing Sing, my other gripe with the movie is what they do with Colman Domingo's character in the third act, which just felt like the injection of drama for the sake of it. The thing that his character does is a cliche that you've seen half a dozen other times, and is a bad example of a character's actions being influenced by what the story requires of them. All that said, these criticisms are only a minor detractor from my overall thoughts on Sing Sing. I still like the themes and the characters, and its ties to the real-life correctional facility make it all the more fascinating. It's all anchored by a really great performance by Colman Domingo, so I'm going to give Sing Sing a 3.5 out of 5 stars. Thanks for watching my review of Sing Sing. Please consider liking and subscribing, and I hope to see you next time.